What are you doing? Cats, what are you doing? Whiskey, what is your brother doing? Leave the toilet paper alone. Hey, no doubt you're watching this because you're thinking, how can I enter the WOW Awards? That being the World of Wearable Arts Awards, which you can watch here in my inaugural video, where I went to see the last WOW Awards in 2022 after having it postponed for a whole year because of COVID, and it was well worth it. It was a real spectacular event, and basically is about art that you wear on your body. So if you're really into sewing, costume design, model making, if you like to work with your hands, then this is for you. It attracts 60,000 people in the audience every year. It's basically over a couple of weeks, the shows. I'm going to show you all the dates for this year's one. They have several categories that you can enter. Unfortunately, you have to make your entry before you even enter, which is fine, you know, that's adds to the 10,000 hours that you need to be an expert in your field. So let's go and see some of the history. Let's talk about how and when you can enter and go over some tips, things that you need to think about. Really great way to get yourself out there, something to put on your CV, your Instagram, and it's a pretty cool thing to do. So let's go and take a look at the site now. And here you can see in the About page a little bit of the history of the wearable arts. The now Dame Susie Moncrief started it in 1987 in rural Nelson, which is at the top of the South Island of New Zealand. It obviously grew in popularity. At the time there were only 200 in the audience, and now there's 60,000 every year that watch the Wearable Arts Awards. And there are also 40 countries from around the world which enter into the competition. Now, because of its gathering so much in popularity, etc., they had to move it to the capital of New Zealand, Wellington, which is basically a ferry ride away from Nelson. And you can see here in these photos how much of a huge production it really is. So now we're going to take a look at the competition section of the website. So if you scroll up to the menu bar, we can see here the competition tab. You have designer information, and you also have 2023 section themes. So let's look at that first. If we scroll down here, we can see for 2023 there are 6 categories, 3 of which are reoccurring themes and 3 of which are unique to the year. Now every June for the following year they release these themes, so you have time to prepare. Now Aotearoa is New Zealand in Māori, so it's a New Zealand based theme. Avant-garde is avant-garde, all strange, all bizarre and over the top. Open, whatever you want to do. Mars and Beyond, Bizarre Bra and Gold are 3 unique themes to 2023. Now if you scroll down just a little bit, there's a really cool video which shows you all the themes and their inspiration that you can use for your own vision. Of course, I will leave a link in the description for this video. So now we're going to look again at the information for the designers. So we're going to scroll back up here to the tabs, select designer information. Now the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to create your WOW designer profile. And here you've got all the fields that you need to fill out, and you have to put in a photo, that's a new thing, your biography, pretty much self-explanatory, yeah? And then you're going to create your account. Now this is not your entry, this is not, you're not entering at this stage, this is just your registration, and you can do this at any time that you like, and they'll send you all the information you need, etc. Now how do we go back? Okay, so I have to go here. Right, go back to the same place, scroll down, you've got more information. Again, registering your designer profile. keep going down, some information on creating your garment, etc. Key dates and deadlines. This is really useful. If you go in here, you've got all the key dates that you need to be aware of. So this is very, very handy. Now, one of the things you really need to note is that although the online entry process opens on Saturday the 1st of October, for example, in this case, the deadlines for entries for international entrants and New Zealand entrants is different. So if you see here, we've got step 1, intention to enter closes. Now that's for New Zealand residents. So that's Thursday the 2nd of March. But by then, the step 2 for the international entries close. So that's when you have to have your garment finished, photographed and entered in for pre-selection. Next, you're going to be emailed if you're international to see if you are going to be entered into the competition for judging. And step 2 for New Zealanders, that is, your entries have to be photographed and entered and finished, etc., are in May. So everything for international designers is a little earlier in the calendar, obviously due to logistics, I'd say. So another thing that's important to note is that if you're a first-time entrant from New Zealand or an international designer, you actually have to complete all steps. That's step 2, 1 and 2. But if you are a returning designer from New Zealand, there are parts of step 2 that you can skip. I'm not exactly sure on what you can skip, but you could find that out from the team. Okay, so all entries close around June, which is also the time when they release the themes for the following year. This means that you actually have to courier or freight your garment in to be judged in person. Following this are all the judging dates, and finally the actual awards are announced at the actual show. I think it's the 3rd show. Okay, so let's go back up again to the competition tab, designer information. We're going to scroll back down. Creating your garment. You know, we want to know what we have to do for our garments. So click on that. And there's a little bit here, that blurb here, that tells you that you can actually enter with a design team of up to 3 people. You can be individual or in a design team. You just have to choose somebody to represent you all. But you all have to have your own designer profiles. Go down here and there's considerations when creating your work of wearable art. They talk about wearability, branding, cannot use branding. Materials need to be non-perishable. Garment dimension guidelines. Now this is really important because if you don't think about this, it's really going to cause a lot of problems in terms of your design being judged well. So down here it's really useful. They've got female dimensions and male dimensions, so you can just work to those, which is excellent. I think the website's so much more organized and the information's really, really thorough. Here you've got shoe sizes, for example. When I was thinking of entering, I realized my shoes were too small and I had to rethink the whole thing. So you have to be really careful about this sort of stuff. They do also talk about the actual size of your garment, how big it can be. And here is your judging criteria. Let's click on that. That's very useful. And here, if you scroll down, there's a really cool video. It's just a screen capture that I'm going to show you now, but I'll leave a link in the description as well.
Well, each year the judges are looking for originality and innovation. The judges also look at how your entry meets the section themes.
I think a title of a garment is really important. You know, when the garments first come into the judging room and I call out the name of the garment, you know, the judges take note of this.
Your entry will be worn around 20 times in its life with WOW, so they're looking for excellent construction. They're looking for model comfort. You also need to consider what impact your entry will have on the stage, as well as the impact it will have with close scrutiny of the exhibitions that your garment will be going into.
So back to the site, under the video you can see originality and innovation. I mean, are you doing something new? Is this something they've seen before, etc. Under that we have concept. How well does your design fit the brief for the theme that you're entering? Under this you have quality of construction. Like they said in the video, you want to make sure that it looks really good on stage, but also you want to know that it looks really good close up. They want to see how well you've worked on it, and it's going to be in a museum, so you know people are going to see it up close. And another thing here that they didn't talk too much about, but they do seem to reiterate a lot, is health and safety. Now this is something that you should think about, not only for the safety of the actual model, but again the performance potential, because if your garment is easy to wear, if it's easy to move in, they're going to be able to dance, they're going to be able to show it off a lot better than if it's stiff and immobile and really difficult to walk in. I mean, you really don't want to break anyone's feet, do you? Okay, and so finally we're going to look at one last thing here, a couple of last things here. Go up again to designer information, scroll down, and entering the WOW competition, which we were looking at before. And here you're going to see some more information about all those key dates and deadlines we talked about, all the processes, all the steps that you need to go through. And down here in freighting information, you can see here, if you're a New Zealand designer or an international designer, they have information there for you. And they also are sponsored by Main Freight, so they can get you good deals with them, and it's all organized with them so they know what they're doing, etc. Probably the easiest option. And the last thing we're going to look at to do with the actual entering of the competition is go back up to the same page again. Down we go, down, down, down. And right at the bottom you've got designer resources. Click on there and there's a whole heap of interesting things you can watch, read, just to help you with the whole process basically. And down the bottom, frequently asked questions, and then you can also contact the team. So I hope my overview of the site and the process of entering has helped you to sort of get a grasp what it's all about and how anyone can enter. Definitely go ahead and look at the site yourself, because there's so many resources there. It's really useful, it's really well organized. So I thought now it's probably a good time to actually look at how you can go to the show. I'll show you the seating plans, talk about the options and the prices. So now we're going to look at the show if you want to go see it. So click on show, we've actually done that already. Scroll down and you can see the performance dates and times. Now they're over 3 weeks, not 2 as I said earlier. And they're all organised around the awards night. Prior to that you have the preview nights, which tend to be a little bit cheaper because awards haven't happened yet, but the awards night, definitely most popular night, usually sells out really quickly. After that you have the main show season. If we scroll down, we can see how the ticket types are organised. Now there are special tickets you can purchase, stage side experience and VIP tables depending on the night. VIP tables, you're basically buying a table for 10 people. You get a 3-course meal, drinks and a program. A stage side experience, you get to buy individual seats at a table, and it's more nibbles, drinks and a program. Now these tickets actually come with plus versions as well, and they're limited, so there's only 40 per stage side experience and 4 per VIP experience. So that means basically you get all the same things, except that you also get to go backstage and meet the show creators and see where all the magic happens. Standard seating is arranged based on the view of the stage. You have Platinum, A Reserve, B Reserve and C Reserve. Tickets range in price depending on the night. A stage side experience could go from anywhere from $209 to $429 depending on the night, or whether you get a +1 or version or not. Platinum $199 to $229. You get an A reserve for $149 to $169, B reserve $499 to $119, C reserve $59 to $79. So they're really affordable. A VIP table, quite pricey, obviously, because you're paying for a whole table and it's for 10 people. So they range in price from $4,790 plus GST, which is tax, to $6,400 plus GST for a VIP table plus. So quite pricey, and all those prices are in New Zealand dollars. And finally, we can take a look at the seating plan for the TSB Arena in Wellington. And you can see everything is color coded. You can see these little circles are your tables in the front by the stage. You can see the color platinum is red, the color yellow is A reserve, B reserve is green, C reserve is purple. We sat in this middle section, in the C section, and I think we were A reserve. We had great view of the stage. I think wherever you are, you're going to be able to see really, really well. You can see that people, when they walk out on the stage, go into the 4 corners, the 5 corners really, of the stage to show everybody. And I think that wherever you sit, you're going to have a great experience. So I hope this video has addressed some of your doubts and answered some of your questions about entering the competition. Everybody starts from humble beginnings. I mean, this competition itself did. Coming from Nelson, it was somebody's dream. And I think that if you have the time, if you have the inclination, if you have the creative urge, definitely give it a go. I mean, I'd love to see your responses to this video, to my other videos. I'd love to see anybody's entries if you ever want to send them to me. And just keep going, keep being creative, and keep yourself happy.